Bryan Cranston and Annette play a married couple who discover a loophole in a local lottery and win more than they bargained for. Let's talk about Jerry and Marge Go Large. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Paramount Plus film, Jerry and Marge Go Large. Paramount really moving ahead with some big-name films. This I think easily would have been in theaters a few years ago, but Paramount Plus obviously trying to beef up their slate. They've got the new Beavis and Butthead movie coming in just a few days, and you can't get, Annette Bening. She is maybe not as A-list as we think, but she's been nominated for 4 Academy Awards. And Bryan Cranston, obviously a huge name in TV and branching out into some films as well. So, pretty big pedigree for this movie. But before we dive into the specifics of it and my review, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video, and there's a lot more where that came from. We do a lot of movie and TV reviews here, usually about 5 or 6 every single week, so please consider subscribing down below too. Would love to have you aboard. So this is based on basically a true story. I don't know how many details are changed really, but there was a HuffPost article years ago about this couple who sort of figured out a loophole in the lottery system and decided to kind of exploit it to do some good for their hometown. So Jerry, played by Bryan Cranston, he is a retired production line manager, but he's good with numbers, and he figures out a loophole in this lottery system called Windfall, that basically once the thing gets up to a certain amount of money, the more that you put in, the better your results of getting money is. And I have always sort of thought, well, okay, like when I think about Powerball, I'm like, okay, well, if the jackpot is, whatever, 180 million or 500 million, whatever it may be at the current time, I always think, well, if somebody spent, a few $1,000s on tickets, they could probably, get enough to break even. But, Powerball is so specific, you really have to get kind of all the numbers, and then if you include the Powerball, you get the jackpot, but even if not, you only get, I don't know, a couple 100,000 or whatever. So it's not really worth it. But this particular lotto game called Windfall, which was specific at the time to Michigan, but then they shut the game down, and there was only one other state playing it. So Jerry and Marge decide, okay, well, now we're going to make our efforts up to that state and play that way. And they decide to go very big, as the name might clue us in on. Jerry and Marge Go Large. And eventually they get many people in the town to sort of go in with them. And now their full-time job really is just searching the cards for the numbers that they got. So look, this movie is likable enough. There's a lot of these movies where people are trying to sort of scam the system, not necessarily the lottery, but, they're trying to either, skim money off the top and, maybe rob a bank. And there's, every year we get a few of them. In fact, last year we had 2 of them that I reviewed, with a sort of medium to lower than average grade. The best of them, I think, is obviously Office Space. Mike Judge sort of hit a home run with that one, where they're sort of sticking it to the corporate man. And another one I like that I do always point out is Mad Money with Diane Keaton and Katie Holmes. That's from, I don't know, about 12 or 14 years ago now. It's been a while, but that's one of my favorites as well. But this sort of falls into that category of, it's enjoyable enough, but none of these movies, like, in my head, I'm sort of running down the list. Queen Pins was one last year, and they had like Masterminds a few years ago with Kristen Wiig, and they're all sort of fine and nice. But one thing that's nice about this is that the dynamic between the couple, Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening obviously are pros at the craft, and it's enjoyable to watch them and sort of, their marriage is in a little bit of a rut, and this is sort of an event that they can do together and sort of strengthens their relationship. So, like, that's cute. And then, the supporting cast is pretty decent. You've got Rainn Wilson, Larry Wilmore, Anna Camp. So a few people that you recognize from other things. But really, this sort of falls into the trap of being a movie that I think is more geared towards an older demographic, an older audience, maybe around the same age of Cranston and Benning, which is about 20 some years older than me. And I can certainly enjoy a movie that's geared towards older people, but one of my big issues with those types of movies is they take very, very few chances. Everything is kind of take what you get. You see, these are the characters. This is the plot. Everything is sort of, A, B, C, very structured, very safe. And those movies can certainly be enjoyable to watch, but I don't grade them very high because there's nothing unique about them. There's nothing overly interesting about them. And even, the director of this, David Frankel, who I would think is best known for directing The Devil Wears Prada, which is certainly one of the great films, of the past 20 years. It's probably in my top 100 of all time. And that was, a little bit more unique and a little bit more going on. This just, it's quite safe. And there's a couple of things that come up, some wrinkles. There is, as this is based on a HuffPost article, there is a journalist that's sort of looking into some things and doing some stories. But, none of those threads really get pulled very much. It's all just so very sanitized, and it is enjoyable to watch. I certainly don't regret seeing it. It was fun, and, like I said, Cranston and Benning together really do kind of hold it together. They have great chemistry, and you really do kind of root for them, because it's not even like they're trying to steal this money or run away with it like a lot of these other movies. They are really putting it back into the town. They want to get this jazz fest up and going that sort of had been canceled for the last few years because of lack of funds. So it's like they're doing good with the money, so that's good to see. But the movie on the whole just very, very safe overall, like a lot of these movies geared towards the older viewer. So I'm going to leave Jerry and Marge Go Large with a C+. I think, even with, A-list actors, I'm thinking of if they did this with Clooney and Julia Roberts or something, I think the most I would be able to give it is probably a B- or something based on the script and the directing. Everything just needed to be a little bit more exciting for me to give it that grade. So, all right, thank you for watching, and we'll see everybody next time.